Hello everybody, I'm ika.himee and welcome to my channel. Today I thought I would do something a little different from my usual, and I thought I would actually do a copic tutorial. Typically I am a digital artist, as you know, but I decided to do a traditional tutorial because I do enjoy using copics. And this is something that is different from what I usually do, so I thought I would show you guys. And I'm actually going to be teaching you how to draw or color material like leathers. And I'm not saying that this is the only way to do it, but this is just the way that I have found, and I hope that you can make use of it and improve on it and stuff like that. This is actually my original character, Reiko, from my work in progress manga, and I'm going to be showing you how to draw an outfit that she would wear. So let's get started. Now, first off, you have to have the right colors, of course. So the colors that I'm going to be using are gray colors, cool gray colors, and I'm going to be using black, C7, C5, and C3. Now, I typically will put down the lightest color first and build up from there, but that is not the way that I color leather. And the reason being is that leather is a shiny material, so I don't want all of my colors completely blended together. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take my black color and I'm going to go in and I'm going to mark the areas that will be the darkest. This is where all the shadows are going to be. You're going to follow a basic light source, of course. Now I'm leaving little edges around here and there because this is also going to be leather, so you want to be able to see a little bit of the outline here and there from where the actual jacket part of it is opposed to the sleeve. You don't have to do it this way, obviously. There's no real one set way to do this, but it helps define the edges a little bit more if you do. You can also go in with a white gel pen later on if you see some areas that you would actually like to lighten up. That is also an option. Now I'm blocking out really big areas here and there, leaving thin strips of color blank, because the leather material is actually quite dark, so a lot of it is going to be covered. Very little bit of it is going to be light. This is just kind of one of those materials that you have to experiment with a lot, because it can be difficult to kind of figure out what you're doing, where the colors are going to go. The best way I can think to explain it is think about a manga. You know, think about inking a manga. How would you ink the clothing if you were working on a page? And that's kind of the rule that you have to follow. Now I am using, for this, since it's just a quick technique tutorial, I am just using copy paper. Most of my references for my manga are done on just plain computer printer paper, because I don't want to use any good paper for it, since they're just references. If you're doing serious drawings, of course, I would always recommend using better paper if possible. Any paper you can make it work, but typically There are other papers out there, smoother papers. There's some Bristol board. You can get copic paper. I'm not the biggest fan of copic paper. I find that it's very comparable to copy paper, but it is a bit smoother. So if you figure out how you're going to work with it, then you can make it work well to your advantage. But those are just a couple of my suggestions for paper. I would probably steer clear of watercolor paper, of course, for obvious reasons. It'll soak up a lot of ink, and copics are expensive, and refills are also expensive. So you kind of want to take as good care of your markers and ink as possible. Also, remember when you are working with copics, depending on the paper that you're using, the color is likely to bleed through the paper. So when you're working, you probably want to have a sheet of scrap piece of paper underneath your art to make sure that you don't ruin any art that you might have underneath it, you don't ruin the next page, etc. Alright, so the jacket is done, and I will just be showing you the jacket. I was going to do the pants, but I think that the jacket will suffice. Okay, so from here I'm actually going to take my next darkest color. I'm going to take my C7, and I'm going to kind of just go around a little bit, and kind of where like the deeper parts of the bends would be, you know, where your shadows are likely to be cast is kind of where I'm going with this. Now here I'm going to leave this spot a little bit blank because the light is actually reflecting off of the top of the jacket right here. So this area will have a highlight. Just follow the shading. Now you're not going to completely cover all of the highlights, of course. You're going to leave some of them still light. This is just kind of where just the shadows would typically be cast if you were coloring normal fabric. Okay, so now you have this. Now we're going to go in with the C5, and we're just going to kind of make a little bit of a gradient on some of that material, make the transition a little more gradual in some areas. And here I'm going around to the top of where the black is and to the bottom of where the C7 is. And up around here, going to the back of the collar, of course. And if there's any spots that you feel another wrinkle would be, you can go ahead and fill that in. Okay, so now we have the majority of the fabric actually done, and now I'm going to take my lightest shade, my C3, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to basically cover all of the areas of the fabric. So you can see that It is a gray fabric. It is not completely shiny. Now if you're going for a completely shiny fabric, you can skip this step and leave white spots, because the brighter your highlight, the shinier your material is going to look. So this is kind of, this is a shiny material, but it's not like a latex type material. It's a bit more matte than that. Just want to make sure you get all of those areas in there filled in with color. And there you have it. That is my quick and easy tutorial on my techniques for coloring leather. And I hope that it was helpful to you. I'll be trying to post more videos soon, of course. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys on my channel again. Bye!